there's no point in really beating around the bush. We thought the Brewers were on their way to like a really good homestand. We were talking last week. They had just won, a weekend series against the Reds. They won 2 out of 3 against the Orioles, which I think you could probably consider, if not one of the best teams in the AL, one of the best teams, at least by record in all of baseball. So that was a super impressive series, really like one inning away from sweeping that series. And then they go and they kind of threw it all away. They kind of messed around against the A's and found out. Still kind of embarrassing losses. As you guys said, some exciting and close games, but when you play close games, you leave things to chance, and chance did not work in their favor. And really, it was the offense that was really the disappointing thing to me, at least over the weekend, right? Because the A's came in with a team ERA of more than 6 by far.
Everybody needs to go just pull up the A's reference page and just look at the ERA plus or whatever stat of their pitchers, whatever you want, doesn't matter. They're all bad. It's incredible to get shut down by this pitching staff, which is just absolutely atrocious across the board.
Right. And to be fair, Blackburn has missed most of the year, 2022 All-Star Paul Blackburn, but he also shouldn't probably be shutting you down for 6 innings and, throwing a gem like that. So it was bad. So I guess
there's only one of him, you get to face the rest of the pitchers too.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess before we get into the Patreon questions, my question for you guys is, what the hell happened?
They're not a good offense. They can get shut down by literally anyone, and they did. That's what happened. Like, it's not any more complicated than that.
Yeah, I would say that pretty much sums it up. The offense we know is not all that good this year, and it's certainly not as good as it was last year. And basically throughout most of this time period that Stearns and Arnold have been at the helm, this is kind of a low ebb point, and some of that is obviously the injuries that they've sustained and all of that, but some of it is just they have some talented players like Joey Wiemer, who had, obviously the Joey Wiemer game. That's what I was hoping we were going to be spending tonight talking about back on, Tuesday night or whatever, because the Joey Wiemer game was a thing, right? Like, we shouldn't forget about that.
Yeah, it was great.
And like, he took his OPS plus, or sorry, his WRC plus was at 80 going into the game, and it came out 96 on the other end. Like, you don't see that in June too often. That's a pretty good game. But
just the team leader in OPS plus is Owen Miller, who has a 2% hard hit percentage. He's 119.
Oh, we got more on Owen Miller and his hard hit percentage.
We'll get to Owen theorizing. I'm looking forward to Owen theorizing. That'll be fun. The second highest is William Contreras, who, thank goodness for William Contreras, but still has catcher offense. And that's everybody else is like Rowdy's average now, Brian Anderson's average now, Yelly's average now, and everybody else is less than that. So that's why they couldn't score, because they suck. That's the reason. They suck at offense.
Yeah. So it really is. I don't know if it's going to, for this year, I'm not sure how much better it can. Well, it's going to be better than this. Okay. Like, this is a low ebb point, and this is the main thing I want to say, is that never, ever, ever judge a team like after the worst run of the season. And God, I hope this is the worst run of the season. Like, this series against a bad A's team, like,
it's hard to do something worse than losing 3 games to the A's. So it kind of has to be the low point of the season.
But it's also 3 games, and like, any stupid thing, it's baseball, so any stupid thing can happen in 3 games. Like, that's just how baseball is. 3 out of 162, you're going to have weird things. And the A's seem to be in maybe their best run of the year. I mean, certainly the Brewers helped them out on that, but like, they had won 2 of 3 series coming into this, which was something they hadn't really done all year. Because they had just they came from Pittsburgh, where they'd won 2 of 3, and the 2 series before that, they beat the Braves, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. That's
so
right.
They're kind of in that time period where things are clicking for them. And they were also, like, on Friday night, they were making some great defensive plays. And I remember on the radio yesterday, they were joking around about, I think Euchre and Levering were joking around about the fact that, like, we can tell you that this is the worst defensive team in baseball, and it's true from the stats, but we're not seeing that team on the field today. And I didn't see it, so I don't know for sure. I was just listening to it, but it sounded like they were making some uncharacteristically good defensive plays, and it's because they're major leaguers and because they're paid to play the game too, and so they're going to have a run at some point where they look for at least a time competent, and we managed to be here at that time and to be playing bad enough that they were able to do it against the Brewers. It's the connection, the coincidence of both catching the team at the wrong time and playing poorly at the wrong time. And there wasn't really an indicator coming in that they were playing poorly. They had, I had tweeted out, and James, you mentioned this too, at 3:00 on Wednesday afternoon, they were up 3-0 on the Orioles and were looking like they were about to sweep them. And then the bullpen coughed it up and they ended up losing 6-3. And basically from that point forward, everything just that could go wrong did go wrong. And that's going to happen sometimes over the course of 162. You're going to have that. But the fact that it happened against the A's is just, it's a little hard to take. And then you get into some of the runners in scoring position stuff that happened over this series. Though I will say, I went and looked. It wasn't actually that bad. Today they were 3 of 12, so they hit 250. But I know that I think 2 of those hits did come after it was kind of already decided and they were trying to salvage something late. And actually almost did salvage something. They Trevor May just about gave them the game back. They just weren't quite able to finish the deal. So it sucks. Baseball seasons are going to have sucky ups and downs, and this is one of them, one of the suckiest, because it's a team that they're bad. They're legitimately very, very bad. And you would like to not lose even that series, let alone get swept, and it's at home. And yet here we are. That's what happened. So the big thing I just want to say more than anything here is jumping to grand sweeping conclusions about the whole team over the whole season at this moment is dangerous, and it's how you end up wrong about stuff, because this is a particularly bad moment. So making huge sweeping generalizations about it now is probably not the time if you want to be right about those things.